What's up, guys? You are listening to the Touge Hour podcast. My name is Wade Best, owner of 129 Touge, and joining me are some of the area's most known individuals in the mountain pass scene. Here we discuss the presence of US 129's Touge scene and the endless changing cycle of motorsport-related news.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Touge Hour podcast. Streaming and Dylan's here because guess what? He's back. The insurance man is actually sharing a mic with me today. You can't see him again. We're doing no cameras, just mics only for Spotify. We'll bring the cameras back very soon for our Instagram page because we do need some content on the page itself. But today, before we start doing introductions to everybody, we're going to be talking about how to mod your car for the Mountain Pass and TougeFest 2022 Spring Overview.
Isn't it 2023?
Yes.
Man was sniffing too much E85 at TougeFest.
You weren't even on E85.
We're keeping that in.
And Spring 2023 TougeFest.
This will be good for people coming to the fall one, too.
It would be good. So the Spring TougeFest is always just kind of like a just dipping your toes in the water, and it went really, really well. So I'm pretty excited to elaborate on that. But anyways, we have Dylan to my left. You can't see him.
No.
Welcome back.
Thanks. It's good to be back. I'm overdressed. I just came from a conference.
Yeah,
You're overdressed by like 14,000%.
Austin looks like he just got done beating his wife.
Oh my gosh! And there goes everybody. But yeah, it feels good to be back. I definitely missed. So this was the first TougeFest I ever missed, and I was at Barber instead, which was like very cool. I get to do stuff with Haggerty, but it was hard seeing everybody just like be up there, and I wanted to be around everyone. This is the mountain driving and everything is where all my original friendship started. It's where I met you, Forrest, Austin. It's where I've met all you guys. Mm-hmm. And so missing out on that was rough, especially Friday night sitting in my hotel room and just like seeing everyone post about going up and all the runs. And honestly, this one, after the whole event, like there wasn't a whole lot of commotion, like bad commotion.
No.
You know, there were obviously when you increase the amount of people, the risk increases. So there's always going to be one or two things, but it wasn't like 20 things like the 2021 TougeFest. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, but it feels good to be back. We'll see if I'm back next week.
Yeah, we're glad to have you back. I'm going to jump way down there. We have Douglas James Smith, our Eurospec alignment man / car mechanic hero. How you doing?
Man, it looks like you just got done doing an alignment out in the street.
No, I didn't do that. I actually drove my freshly ceramic coated S2000 here. Oh. But, yeah, you guys have to see it. It's so shiny.
But we're not going to see it. It's dark.
Oh, I have a new question I want to ask you every week since you see so many cars. What's your favorite car this week?
This week? Whoa. 71 Mach 1 Mustang.
Oh, that gray? Was it gray?
It was gray.
Yeah.
Silver, gray, whatever. But what was cool about that is I did the car that I did alignment on directly right before that was a 2023 Mach 1. So I literally went back in time immediately afterwards.
Which one would you drive?
Hopped into the time
I would absolutely probably have the 2023 because I don't know how to work on half of the 71.
Fair.
And I would track the absolute crap out of the Mach. And if it was
Dude, the new Mustangs can mob on track. 100%.
Oh, and it was like this beautiful, like, deep purple color that had, like, this blue pearl to it. Incredible color. I don't know what it's called. Sorry, Mustang people. But gorgeous car. Loved it.
Nice.
So I think I did a classic car every day today, except for today.
I need to give you my business cards. So when you do classic cars, give them one of my Haggerty cards. This podcast is partially brought to you by Haggerty. I don't feel like I can legally say that.
Shameless plug.
But maybe one day.
Maybe one day. That'd be cool.
Shameless
Who can we
plug.
talk to about that?
Jason Camisa.
Do you actually get to see that man or no?
He's in, so everyone knows what Slack is, like how you like text corporate work people, whatever. And I'm in a bunch of Slack channels with him, like group chats. So there's a big media one, there's a motorsports one. So I've seen his name pop up in the chat, and I'm like, that's neat.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, because he's one of the people that like that video that they did on the new 86 is why I bought a new 86. So
I watched their recent one with a drag race or something like that. It was the GR Corolla.
Yeah, that was a good video.
Oh, with the launch of Delta?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a really good episode. I love what they're doing on the YouTube channel.
There's a wasp up there. For everyone that can't see,
God.
there's a massive wasp in here.
Well, before I get taken out, dude, that thing is huge.
Do you have any bug spray?
He's ramming his head
No,
against the
but
light
I can
bulb.
throw a block. I got a center block
What?
right here.
It's on a light. Okay, before we get that,
Down there, we have Austin Simons, our J Zilla Track Days instructor. Miata Man is
Brake
what we
cleaner
call him.
works.
Ignore me. Let Austin talk.
Oh, Jesus.
No,
Austin, talk about your face.
no, don't do that.
Wall spray in the
Yeah,
cabinet.
don't do that.
Yeah, look at the left cabinet.
Man's about to try to spray a bead
Sir.
PB Blaster right now.
Oh my
a
God.
propane storage.
Okay.
Y'all talk. Oh God.
All I'm worrying about is the boat paint. That's the only thing
Yeah.
I'm concerned about right now.
Yeah, PB Blaster.
Sir, that's gel coat, not paint.
Close god dang enough.
No, it's not.
Anyway, how's it going, guys? During
good.
the chaotic part of this episode,
We can't. We're so distracted.
we are way too in depth.
Guys, just focus on man.
We can't. We can't.
Look at the-
We're seeing
look
a
at the
man
left.
in a suit nearly trying to
Got
kill
it.
a wasp.
Aim it this way if you can.
Yeah.
Oh, this is fantastic.
Oh,
Oh, no,
What?
you're
No
good.
one
Hold
time
on,
you-
wait, hold on.
I'm
Pause
also
it.
in like dress shoes and slacks. Work out. For the people that can't see, this has to be funny.
This is gonna be
hold
a.
on, hold on.
What is it?
Hold
Oh
on.
my God.
So we have
Are you
some
recording?
reels
Hold on.
here.
Oh,
We have a man in full dress
Dude, that
wear.
thing's gonna fall right on you.
I'm scared.
I ain't scared.
Kill it! Stop it! Kill it! Wait! Stop on it! Wait his ass!
This man grabs the chair.
You have shoes on, dude.
Dude, look at the stinger on this guy.
Oh, you halved him.
Okay, can we continue with the podcast?
He got halved.
Oh my
He got guillotined.
God.
I gotta get it. Also, keep going. I gotta get a different chair.
Anyway,
Yeah.
welcome to the podcast.
And the light's
back.
gonna drip on his forehead.
We apologize to everybody that just had to listen to that and crank their volume all the way down.
Hey, that's gonna drip on your forehead. Just a
I
warning
know,
to
I
you.
know.
And your fancy suit.
Yeah.
Right here, you'll be okay.
Fancy. It's a shirt from Target.
It's close enough.
Dude, I broke my chair coming from that. Okay, and we're back. We got Austin Simons over there. How you doing?
I'm doing well, doing well. How about yourself?
That's fantastic. Our Jay's Little Track Days instructor, Miata Man. You got a track day coming up, don't you?
I do this weekend, this Sunday at AMP.
Ooh, that'd be nice. Little AMP action.
JDM versus DTM.
Ooh.
Isn't that gonna sold out?
Probably.
Yes.
Dude, they've been selling out like crazy. They sell it so fast. I'm so proud of James. That's awesome.
Yep. I actually I signed up for Jzilla and Grid Life event in Barber.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
Sorry, I'm kind of fading back in
Actually.
now. I heard somebody accidentally call it Grip Life, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah,
That's actually all right.
Yeah, Grip Life? Yeah.
I can see some G35 with a windshield banner that says that.
Yeah.
I think this past weekend we converted a few people to try Jzilla, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
I
We'll
was
talk
gonna
about
say, I
that
was
here in a
definitely-
little bit.
Spreading the good Lord's word.
And then we have the BRZ man.
Ooh, he's been
because
upgraded.
He doesn't have his
Have I been upgraded?
Miata right now.
Or downgraded.
I don't know, probably downgraded.
I guess,
Linear
I guess
graded.
for me, that's a downgrade.
Yeah, lateral move.
Yeah, lateral move.
movement. No, I do have some updates about that. So,
Thomas Couch, by the way, sorry.
yeah. So I did actually get my base map tune in today. I've already imported it into the tuning software, and literally the only thing that I was waiting on was the base map tune.
Okay.
So he can literally start on it tomorrow, and I would be fresh and ready to go with everything.
I'm so excited to see that car back. It's been a while.
I just want my cams. I just want to
I
hear.
see you just want to drive it.
hog cams. Yeah, that's really what it is. I just want to drive my car because while I do enjoy the BRZ, I like my NC better.
Correct.
Because I feel like it's more me. But going back into the track side of things, yesterday, I signed up for Jzilla S's of Summer, which is June 17th.
It's coming up.
June 18th, and it's the weekend of the 18th.
So it's like 5 weeks away, man.
Yes.
I think it's the week before the one at Barber.
No, it's not. It's the week after.
After.
Yes.
The fall.
Yes. So, and I signed up for Yellow Group too.
Ooh.
So as we
Get
know,
to pass anywhere now.
that's right. As we know,
No,
last
not Yellow.
year I did do my check. Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, I'm an
Yes.
idiot. Sorry.
Yellow Group is like a small wheel-to-wheel racing
Yes.
group without wheel-to-wheel racing.
Yeah. So
It's bumper to bumper.
as
So
everybody knows, last year I did my check ride at Road Atlanta during S's of Summer. before my clutch hydraulics went out, and I fortunately passed my check ride, and then I did not get to run at all for the rest of the weekend.
Well, I remember that.
Yeah, but I did get my check ride in, literally the session before last session before lunch that I passed, so I'm good for yellow. I'm in yellow.
Fantastic.
It should be a fun time.
You'll enjoy it. Yellow was my favorite group when I was there.
I need to get back on.
I'll still get back down to yellow just because it's fun.
Dude, yellow is so fun.
Versus
It's like
friends
everyone's
and
really well paced in yellow group and super respectful too. I mean, everyone in every group's respectful, but yellow group is just like you got these new guys that come from blue that are just trying to learn more. Give everybody space, and it's their first time passing anywhere on track, so they're trying to get used to that. So that's what makes it really special.
That was one thing that Eric did point out in my check ride, which obviously passing anywhere on track coming from blue. In blue, you're only allowed to pass some straights. Yellow, it's pretty much anywhere. Just have to be cautious with doing it in turns, such as he said, especially with trying to point by going down in the S's or in the S's. Mm-hmm. Really, he said you really got to watch about that and be mindful and careful about that.
It is. It's weird because it seems narrow or it seems wide, but it's actually really narrow.
Actually the line that you actually end up taking it's straight through almost, and he said that you really got to watch about giving point bys going down, especially going down in to the S's, because as wide as we know Road Atlanta is, the S's are not that wide.
Nope, not at all. But speaking of S's, which has nothing to do with what I'm about to say, but it's a good transition because Doug's not doing the transitions like he was last
The worst segue ever.
Yeah. But S's on the Dragon. Seen some cool people fly by. Hey, we made that work. That worked out pretty good.
There you go.
You saved it, man.
But yeah, TougeFest. This, what you need to do to your car, what you need to do to yourself before you hit the mountain pass, or maybe they help you out on the mountain pass, not telling you to go up there and just absolutely run like a maniac, because that is really dangerous.
Also, this can apply to track stuff as well, what we're talking
about.
We're
going to orientate a lot of track stuff to your allegedly spirited driving.
Yeah, it's a good cross section because, I mean, what you're doing to your car for the mountain, you absolutely should do for track.
Obviously, before we get too crazy into this, I will tell you, day in, day out, every second, sign up for an HPD. Okay? It's safer. It's better. You'll have a lot more better time. You'll most likely bring the car home. And don't have to worry about paying that extra ticket for...
I got a plug really quick.
What is it?
Haggerty sells track day insurance.
That's right. Yep.
As long as the car is valued over $3,500.
Okay.
So not Miatas.
Not Miatas.
Okay, maybe my NC, but not like NA.
But you absolutely can purchase track day insurance if you guys are worried. If you guys are worried, you can always...
Here we go.
If you guys are worried, you can always purchase track day insurance. Yeah. So it is something that if you're like, oh, it's my daily driver, I don't want to do a track day, like you at least have that's covered. So
that's cool.
So what Wade was saying, like you don't have to pay that extra ticket. Sometimes that ticket and court costs and lawyer fees and everything can be, $500-$600.
Which is a weekend at Road Atlanta.
Which is literally a weekend at Road Atlanta
with gas.
With gas.
Yes, which is a weekend at Road Atlanta with Jayzilla for S's of Summer.
Yeah.
Or preheat petite.
Also, if you guys are really, if people get worried, I want to get into the car prep stuff soon, but if people are worried, especially about like Road Atlanta can be an intimidating track for a lot of people.
I think it's one of the best tracks.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say you can either start at a track like AMP or just, start at autocross so you get a feel for the limit. And if you absolutely just mess up a turn completely at an autocross, you skip across the parking lot?
What do you do? Hit a few cones?
Yeah.
And spin out?
Worst case scenario, you hit a bystander who signed up for it.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario.
Yeah. But I always hear, a lot of us talk, go from, mountain driving to track driving. And as much as I'm not a big fan of participating in autocross, I think the principle of autocross translates very well to track drive, like HPDE, like road course track driving. I've never seen anybody do a lot of autocross and suck on track.
Yeah.
They do a lot of autocross, and they are the principles of driving quickly are instilled in them early and in a safe manner, and they can apply that to track driving.
Yeah.
And so I would recommend if people are nervous, bro, go do an autocross.
And autocrosses are cheap too. Like literally, cheap. Majority of regions have an autocross. Like Austin said a few episodes ago, Franklin North Carolina has an autocross.
Franklin
North
has-
Carolina has an autocross.
If Franklin has
If
an
they
autocross,
have an autocross,
everywhere.
anybody has an
If
autocross.
this kind of like you can literally be across in like 15 minutes, maybe or
Yeah.
less, has an
Also-
autocross.
Also, if you are nervous about doing track days, which is a normal thing, come spectate.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to
Yeah.
throw yourself.
Oh yeah, ride-alongs
Yeah,
too.
come and say,
Get a ride
come
along.
find
just
me. I'll give
bouncing
you a
it out.
ride along. Like,
And they're usually free.
Yeah.
Most, I will say Jayzilla's free. Some track days are like 15
Some
bucks.
organizations are not free to spectate.
Yeah, but it's worth it, man. It's like watching someone else take a test.
yeah.
You just get to watch them,
Oh, he broke his
tantrum.
pencil.
But you get to learn. There's so many avenues to learn before you're even behind the wheel on track. There's autocross. You can watch film. You can ride along. You can spectate. There's so many different things you can do. Oh,
Spectating is what I did before my first track day.
speaking of ride-alongs, I forgot to mention this. I rode in an IndyCar at Barber.
Oh,
Yeah, I rode in the back. Catherine Legg, which is a female IndyCar driver. I rode in the back. They had a 2-seat IndyCar, and it was with a team that just like came over and handed us, some slips to go do it. Yeah, I got to ride in the back of an IndyCar.
Oh, it's cool.
Dude, it's weird. It sounds like a K series because I was in the back, right? The engine's right behind
it's
me.
right there.
Yeah, and I was like, this sounds like it's in B-Tech, man. But it was really cool.
really
I just
Slowly turn around like, wait a minute. You see a Honda logo. Doesn't Honda actually run IndyCar?
yeah, HPD.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yep.
Yeah, Honda and Chevy
Yep.
and McLaren.
Yeah, McLaren was decked out, and then Chevy had a couple teams there. Bitnell, Bitnel, is the team that gave us the ride-alongs. But they were like, they had 5 cars doing it, and so we just got kind of mixed up. So I got put in. I think it was like the IndyCar, like the IndyCar branded IndyCar. But yeah, it was super fun. Went around Barber in was it a minute and 11 seconds.
So
Something like
almost
that.
a Miata spec pace.
That's right. but it was really cool. But it was odd. I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would, because I don't know what it is. I guess it's used to like the G forces of like being up here or something, or so many track days at this point, like being on the track. I was just like, this is faster than usual. But I kept seeing people get out. Granted, they're just regular people. They're not driving fast and all that. They were like, oh my God, yeah. And I was just like, that was neat. Like, it was an experience.
That was how I
Yeah.
thought it would have felt.
Yeah, and that's the best way to describe it. It felt how I thought it would feel. Like, I wasn't blown away. I wasn't surprised. But I am very thankful I got to do that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because, that is some peak technology. And you could see when they're in the pits working on the cars and they take off, like, the side fairings, you see the turbo right there.
Yeah.
It is so neat.
Yeah.
Back talking about other stuff.
So,
I just had to plug
Back
that.
on
Oh, you're
topic.
good. That is fantastic, by the way.
Yep.
But tip number 1 to just driving the Touge, HPD. Sign up for
Seat
track
time.
day, like we were talking about. Seat
time.
time
Seat
is
time.
the best mod that you can do. It
Yep.
really is. It's helped me tremendously, not only just driving spiritually, but just driving around town. It makes you more aware. It
Did
really
you say
does.
driving spiritually
Yes.
Look what
or
Jesus
spiritedly?
did. Have you not seen
Which
this man drive?
Spiritedly.
He uses his aura to steer the
Spiritually.
car.
Yeah.
You never watched
Half
Initial
of the
D?
ghost.
You never seen Initial
Hey,
D?
he's sniffing that wasp spray that I sprayed earlier.
We had to do some.
Are you going to put that in?
That's cool.
Like, is it going to fade in or fade out from when we started the
They will
chaos?
definitely hear it. Somebody's gonna be like, "What is all that noise?"
Yeah.
Wait,
There's no way
Wade's
to
over
avoid
there.
it.
Wade's
I,
over there, like,
I had to cut the podcast. So there's no way that was avoidable.
That was absolute chaos. I hope you make that a reel.
I took a video of it. It's just for you.
Yeah, I got one too. That's funny. But one thing I noticed this weekend during TougeFest was it's good to have really stiff suspension, because a lot of these cars that come up to the mountain pass anyways are track cars. You usually see them in HPD. But usually for the mountain pass though, stiff suspension is not really the best way that you want to go. It is really bouncy, and it
can
can
hop-
just
bounce
hop
a car
around
around.
the
Yeah,
wrong way.
it'll hop around a lot.
You need a gradual rebound stiffness. Is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
That's why yours do so well.
I drove Rich's GT350 up there and just driving, and the G80 that I borrowed. And both of them, they're the most compliant in their, like, not comfort setting, but normal.
Yeah.
But when you put them in, like, stiff sport mode, dude, the car becomes super uncomfortable. But Rich even said he feels the most comfortable driving spiritedly on the Dragon with the GT350 in comfort mode.
I would say
Because
so.
it kind of just, it wallows.
It
and-
absorbs a bunch of the
Yeah.
the bumps and stuff.
Right, versus like it just getting hooked around a lot, because that's a lot of weight to be thrown around quickly.
Yeah.
But if it can transfer softly, it's way easier. So yeah, compliant suspension is key.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you're not just out there, oh, dude, someone's going to say something. Make sure you're not just out there running bad BCs that haven't been revalved or replaced in 4, 5, 6 years. And by the way, if you've had coilovers, I know Wade. I'm calling Wade out too on this one. But if you've had coilovers for more than like 3 years,
I would need to be rebuilt.
I would highly recommend getting them rebuilt or just looking at potential replacement.
Keep quiet.
I know. I'm slinging a hammer, but it is a fair point. I mean,
No,
you get used to a car to a degree, but there becomes a point past where the suspension becomes compliant and it starts to fade.
I've read a few books on this and listened to weird I can read for Franklin. But
Strange.
listen to an ungodly amount of podcasts, and a lot of like pro suspension guys, their biggest complaint, especially when they first get onto a team and they're like looking at like what previous guys done and stuff like that, is that they're always oversprung.
Yeah.
Almost always you find a car that's oversprung. It has too stiff springs, and that'll be the first thing they do is they'll soften everything up.
Nope.
I mean, you read Adrian Newey's book, How to Build a Car, and like that was one of the first things that he mentions is almost all these cars are oversprung.
Yeah, I know. You have people with like 14K spring rates front and like 18K rear. And it's like, that's not like, if you go look at people that do like grid life, whether it's GLTC or time attack or whatever, like they're not running stuff like that. Look at what works on other people's cars, and you don't have to copy it, but just use it as data to bring back and to just look at and say, you know what, I'm going to use this to make an informed decision.
And extrapolate your own thoughts and ideas from it. That way you can be able to, like, okay, 9K is too stiff for the rear. Maybe if I go down to an 8K or a 7K spring, maybe that will be better for the way I'm driving this car currently.
Right.
Hey,
Soft springs bring you up to momentum, and momentum carry is really important. And this is actually quite funny because Austin's car keeps getting slower.
And
Keeps
slower.
keeps losing power,
Yeah,
but is
yeah.
getting faster because it can carry more speed in the turns.
Way to throw him. He's like, so Austin's getting slower.
Way to throw him under the bus.
I mean, it's just now.
He
hold
knows
the
it,
throttle-
too.
Hold the
Yeah.
throttle longer in the corners is all now. It's like
Well, yeah, that engine, how many miles are on that engine?
Almost 300,000.
no, yeah, it's almost 294 as of this after this weekend.
Yeah.
What's the progress on your Miata swap?
Not a lick.
Do they even know about it? Have you mentioned it on the podcast?
I mean,
No.
no, not really.
Oh, oops.
What's funny
Should we?
is
No, keep it a surprise.
Yeah, let's keep it a surprise.
being at a pull off during
It's
the
an
being at a pull off TougeFest, watching him doing just solo runs.
Oh, me?
No, him,
Oh, Austin?
his goober. I was hanging out. I think on Parsons with a
Was
couple
that you
people.
there?
Yeah, I was
I
one of
did
them.
a lot of solos.
I
with
had a whopping like 16 miles till empty.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I parked.
Speaking of being in pull-offs, we were talking about this before the podcast.
Yes.
I was doing a lot of sliding
I'm gonna
there.
let them finish talking.
That's what I was getting at before. He's like raising his hand like a student.
Well, I don't want to over-talk. That's the most annoying thing on podcasts is when people over-talk each other. To everyone that was at TougeFest, or if you plan on coming to TougeFest, or if you plan on coming to any mountain road and sitting in a pull-off, scoot your car back away from the white line. Please, for the love of whatever you worship, get off the white line.
Gods.
That is the one thing I've seen, and it got brought up a lot at this TougeFest because there were some people that touched the yellow a little bit, and obviously we're pretty strict on that in terms of just personal opinions. And they had to do that because there were people like a foot off the white line. And if that pull-off is so small that you have to be that close to the white, just try
Don't
finding a
park
different
there.
one. And also, if everyone takes up the pull-offs,
Where am I going to pull
no,
off at?
where's regular traffic going to pull off so people can drive?
Yeah.
So just have some pull-off etiquette. Everyone wants driving etiquette. Have some pull-off etiquette. But sitting in a pull-off, try to stay away from the white lines. It lowers the risk.
Yeah.
So from the cars going by to you to everything, it just lowers the risk.
And real quick, before Doug gets back into his, like, we mentioned that on the previous episode about,
Oops, I
what-
wasn't here.
and how to prep and
Oops,
everything.
that wasn't good.
So, and we did mention that, and we are going to mention that again. And if we're still doing this through Fall TougeFest, guess what? We're going to mention it again.
We sure will.
Oh, 100%.
Doug, continue.
There was an instance over the night. Pretty much, I had to leave around
Midnight.
midnight-ish because I did not realize my tire pressure low light, which I was airing down for the mountain that night, and my low fuel light are the same color. So I'm doing a halfway run. That was the one that we turned around at the overlook, and you slowed up to nothing and then just went bye-bye to every 6 other cars in that group. And Sean tried to chase you. I think you were in it.
I was back
You
there.
were in there.
Yeah.
There was a lot of BRZs.
I made it about halfway down, and then it said low fuel. I went, oh crap! And when you get a low fuel light 3/4 away down toward the North Carolina side of the Dragon, your closest gas station is
17. It's 17 miles from the store, the one in Robbinsville, because the Sunoco closed the shelf. 17 miles.
And then what about going to the Tennessee side? Which one's the closest?
Fast Lap is usually closed.
Yeah, it's the one that the X is, but the pumps stay open.
Yes.
Yeah, the
Oh, they do?
These are 24-hour pumps.
Yeah, because when I finally made it there, I had 7 miles to empty.
So I bet from Tapcat, call it Tapcat, which is mile marker 11. I bet from there to the Fast Lap is probably also about 17 miles or something like that.
I agree.
Yeah, it's, it's about 15 or so miles. Yeah.
So yeah, like I said,
Well, Tennessee side was closer to home, so I was like, all right, screw it, I'm going.
yeah.
But I was hanging out there and watching him. He did a few solo runs, and I mean, obviously he didn't know I was there watching him. And it was funny because he is carrying more speed through corners, but instead of being straight, it's more sideways. So he's using more like throttle control through corner instead of brake control. It's like a quick dab brakes, and then it's halfway like faint drifting the whole rest of the corner on his wore out RS4s.
I feel like he's talking to me, just figuring out more about his car. He's like, if I go slower, I can be fast.
But I will say, TougeFest was, allegedly, I should say, probably some of my fastest runs I've ever done.
Yeah.
Fastest
Because
35 miles an hour ever.
yes, because I was on the REs, the 71 RSs.
Which absolutely
incredible
blew me
tire.
away in the
Great
passenger
tires.
seat. Fantastic tire.
Incredible.
I will say I was hyping them up months ago
And
when I ran them. And
it.
so what do you guys think now? If we had to rank them again, what would you give
Oh,
them?
they're
a
still
scale
on
of
top.
Yeah.
They're even higher now.
They're above heaven.
It's
Like,
dumb.
my car was already fast on the original 71Rs. Mm-hmm.
This
It's
is-
just like
It was dumb.
I
It was,
get my
it's
ride
cheat code.
Wednesday.
Fast.
I didn't get my ride Wednesday, Mr. Oh, take you for a ride Wednesday. Brings super up.
oh, sorry.
I did get my RS4s to heat cycle.
Yeah, also he showed me a picture. I was like, those are what, 3 years old now?
Yeah.
As we talk about like how to prep your car and we talk about tires all the time.
Yeah. So I buy used tires. I buy used tires a lot because I'm broke. But anyway, so
My 280s.
finally got these 3-year-old RS4s to heat cycle, but it came at a cost. It came at a cost of it delaminating.
Oh, look, it's a 660.
Wait, those are so I did that to Ashley's RS4s.
Yeah, I remember that.
Also,
Yeah.
Very fast, too.
But they did heat cycle.
That's where the
It took 4
all the way to the
back-to-back runs
bottom
to
where
do
it
it.
says Advan.
4 back-to-back runs to get it to
Frank
heat
Van's
cycle.
got another good
I was going to say, what's the next point for people
Tires.
prepping their? So we have so far to recap, we have suspension, driver mod,
driver mod, suspension,
stay away from the white line.
stay away from the white line with momentum.
Make sure there's gas in it.
Oh, yeah, make sure you get gas.
Yeah,
And then we have tires.
tires, which is always good. So go ahead.
So, because I am the prime example of what not to do,
Correct.
do as I say, not as I do. So, tires are definitely something that, especially if you're new to mountain driving
Or track driving.
or track driving in general, anything. The biggest thing is just make sure that they're safe. And
not-
like as soon as I started delaminating these RS4s, I pretty much called it. Like I called it Saturday night. I was like, "Yep, we're chunking them. They're starting to like peel. They're literally peeling away rubber."
And for the people that don't know what delamination looks like, or they don't know how to measure their 30 seconds, bro, if you are guessing on your tires, or if you just feel uncomfortable, if you feel something vague from the wheel, lower it a couple tenths, man. If you're going 8 tenths, try 6 tenths.
Yeah.
Just enjoy the drive, because there are so many instances where people don't have a full grasp on their tires' capabilities and overestimate them and wreck.
So, but the biggest thing is just make sure that your tires are safe.
Yeah.
They could be all seasons. It does not matter, in my opinion. In fact, I would, especially if you're new, I would rather them be an all season or like a 300 tread wear. A lot of times for new beginners, I recommend the Extreme Contact Sports, the Continental Extreme Contact Sports.
Dude, those tires are
Because
crazy
they're
good in
good
the
in the
wet.
rain, you can daily on them, and you can still do a little bit of a heat cycle on them. So it teaches you the goods and bads of heat cycling a tire without punishing you like, say, running an RE would and trying to do a hard run right out the gate with an RE.
They also communicate very well.
Exactly.
I like the Yokohama Advan Apex V601s.
Yeah, I'm starting to really like those tires.
They are
Great
probably
tire.
some of the best rain tires I've ever had.
After I put I'm gonna say this. After I put 8 heat cycles in them, they are really, really good.
So yeah, like that's the biggest thing.
I
It's
enjoyed
just-
mine.
That's the thing about tires. Everyone has you can have a
Preferences.
performance list of tires. Like we can just put the RE and the AO52 like right there, but everyone's still gonna have their favorite tires that they feel a lot more comfortable driving on. So that's one thing that you have to key into is being comfortable in the tires that you want to drive on.
What's your drive
Regardless
on
of
an
it's a
R2
340 tread wear to a 200 tread wear, or if you just want to get crazy and you live 10 minutes away on your 100 NT01
or
RC1.
Maxxis RC1 semi slick.
Everyone has their preference.
The big thing, it goes back to understanding the limits of your car.
Yeah.
Like if you're wanting to drive, quickly, whether it's on the mountain or at an autocross or on a track, I think the biggest thing, whether it comes with like brakes, suspension, tires, whatever, is like have a control. Like I don't want to segue too far from tires unless we're done
Well,
talking
this
about
is
that.
actually what we're going to develop into next. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to talk about just, oh man, you took it from me. But just having like a overall control. So like, don't over mod your car. That's what I was going to say. You have a ton of people that are like, you know what I should do to my car?
Turbo it.
No, they say
Example.
what?
Don't overmod your car.
No, I'm saying a lot of people try to do like everything. They try to do tires, big brake kit, coilovers, like all this stuff that they haven't even learned the car to the limit of its stock yet. And so a lot of people enjoy modding their car, and I get that. But I highly recommend just learning the car's stock and then adjusting the weak points from there. So when it comes to tires, like I can only speak from personal experience, but I wouldn't go straight to a 200 tread wear. I would, on your stock tires and your stock brakes and your stock suspension, just try a 300. And if your car came with 300s, then wear through a couple sets, get used to how they feel, and when you're comfortable, upgrade accordingly. It's slow, and you have to have a lot of patience, but dude, it can teach you so much when it comes to driving.
That's the the biggest excuse I hear for both people who want to come up to the Dragon and for people who go to the track, who want to go to the track. I've had friends who, live out near Charlotte or Florida or whatever, and they're like, I'd love to go to the Dragon, but my car's just not ready. What's not ready about it? Oh, I want to get stickier tires. I want to get aero.
Yep.
And it's the same excuse
I
as with
want,
the
I
track.
want more power.
Yeah.
Exactly. Any of those things. None of it matters. Just
Yeah.
make sure your car's safe, drivable, take it.
Yep. And I mean, it comes with, there are locals that, not even like us, like people that live, in Robbinsville on the North Carolina side that drive over here every day in regular cars. And they drive just fine.
Yeah.
Some of them are absurdly quick in like a Chevy Cruze, and it makes no sense. But because they drive the road, their car has been the control group for probably 10 years for a lot of them. And so they completely understand how the car is going to act. The one thing you can't change is the gap between the driver and the car. And I'm using my hands for everyone listening. If the driver is, say, at level 1 and the car gets modded to level 9, filling the gap is where people wreck. But if the driver's at a 2 and the car's at a 2, there's no gap to fill, and it's cohesive. But if the driver's at a 2 and the car's at 5, it's still kind of difficult to fill that gap. So if you can grow with the car, especially if the car has a high ceiling and you can approach that slowly, then you learn more as a driver. Versus like, I'm going to buy a new M3 and I'm going to put 20 by 10s on it, 200 tread wear, put like my Hawk ER1s. Isn't that what they are, the endurance ones?
Yes.
The ER1s? Yeah. Like I'm going to do that and I'm going to make 600 wheel and then I'll go to the Dragon.
And
Just
you
take it
get
stock.
Passed by a Miata.
Yeah, and you get past probably a stock Miata.
Or Chevy Cruze.
Or Chevy Cruze.
Or
So-
a Chevy Express fan.
Yeah, so that's, we were talking about all these different things, parts of the car. It made me think, stop over-modifying your car. There's somebody I know with an 8.6, and he's like, I need to change my sway bars, and I need a big brake kit for this, and thermal capacity, and all. And I was like, how many track days have you done? How often are you driving the car spiritedly? He's like, none. Why? And he has a new 8.6. That's a great learning tool stock. And so I told him, I was like, don't do a thing. If you already ordered the parts, like have them in, to the side, go drive for a little bit and see what the weak points are. Do you even need to upgrade your sway bars? Are you exceeding the limit of the stock sway bar that much to where you're like, you know what, the aftermarket has to fix this. This is better than Toyota and Subaru's engineering.
You shouldn't have to have parts fix your driving style.
Correct. You should be able to learn. And if something's weak, if you're putting 200s on your car and they're only like a 215 width and it just doesn't have enough grip anymore, and you're exceeding that because your driver level is at a 3 and now the car's at a 2, bring the car up to a 3. Yep. But if you're at a 2 and the car's at a 3, the driver needs to go up
maybe
to a 3.
Go to a, say like a first-gen BRZ from a 215 stock tire to a 255 with an aftermarket wheel.
That's a huge difference.
Yeah, that's a big gap.
But go back to a 300 tread wear.
I love that. Yeah, I agree.
Like what I did on mine. Because I had 615K pluses on mine, on the stock wheels. When I put the wheels and tires on it, I went back to a 280 tread wear.
Yeah. Because that way the change isn't so drastic.
Yes.
But like a 215 200 to a 265.
265, 200.
Massive difference.
Huge difference.
And now the car's at a 5 and the driver, now granted are up there as well, but that could make the car go from a 2 to a 5 and the driver might still be at a 2. Yeah. You have this 3-level gap to cover. That's when wrecks happen.
Yeah. Doug, I'll say allegedly, but Doug's seen me throw my BRZ around a little bit Saturday night, around dusk.
Yeah, I can't run with you guys at night. There's just no way. I just don't.
Blind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You hear him screaming like a bat outside the
echolocation. Dude, I hit a bat.
Yeah, I heard.
Completely off topic. I hit a bat at allegedly
the speed limit.
Over the speed limit. Let's put it.
So you're driving the speed limit and you allegedly hit a bat.
Yeah, okay.
You hit a bat at 80 at Road Atlanta.
Let's say I allegedly hit a bat at 78 miles per hour at Road Atlanta.
Fair enough. Good thing it was on track.
But when we were during the daytime,
Yeah.
Man, was that Petit LeBlanc?
Yeah.
All the track marshals are sitting there like, what is he doing? Wade's just like, just driving.
he was an hour 10 of a Champ Car event.
Brings me up to my next point, being comfortable. We talk about all these mods and everything. If you're going out there and you're, regardless of where you're at, if you're going faster than your limits, or just if you're going fast enough to where you don't feel comfortable, dude, you need to pace it down. You should be more than speedy. I will put it that way, speedy, and be comfortable about it. Like, it shouldn't even phase you to just naturally move the car how it should be moved.
People think speed covers that gap, the level thing I was talking about. People think speed covers that. It does not. And everything we're saying applies to track and mountain driving. So we're not telling you to like go set lap records on the Dragon because A, that doesn't exist, and B, that's highly illegal. Yeah. But like, this stuff applies to track too. If you're out in blue group and everyone is flying by you, stop trying to keep up with them and just tone it down. Yep. The best thing you can do in any circumstance is be humble and teachable and just learn.
Or what you can do, like, say, like, what Dylan just said, if you're out in blue group, say at, like, Road Atlanta, and you've got people and you're constantly pointing by, have an instructor sit in with you.
Yeah.
And like, hey, what can I do to maybe improve?
For people that don't know, blue is novice solo. So it goes green which is like brand new with an instructor, to blue, that's a big jump for some people.
Yeah,
going from green with an instructor to blue solo.
Yeah.
And so sometimes people might get a little bit nervous. Bro, if you're uncomfortable, tell a professional. And that applies to like life. Mm-hmm. But on the track, if you're uncomfortable, dude, grab a professional, grab an instructor, have them hop in there and be like, just help me. Have them drive your car. Because if they're an instructor, they probably know how to drive.
Yeah. Or ride with them.
Yeah. So, yeah, I like Wade's point about being comfortable.
Yeah, definitely want to be comfortable in any situation that you're in. You want to be able to be in control for the most part. If you're taking a turn and you start oversteering, especially if you're in a power car, if you're just like matting the gas and hoping that the car is going to turn, that's not good.
It's going to turn, but not the way you want it.
Wait, what?
You should be in full concern.
You have to make 78 horsepower. It's different.
It's different when you Haas.
You guys don't do that?
But yeah, so my second track day I ever did was in a Fiesta ST, and I was at Road Atlanta, and I was going into turn 1, and I had just been bumped to blue. I was going into turn 1 in a Fiesta ST. And I was like, man, the car's about to understeer. So guess what I did? I completely lifted.
Oh,
how'd that work out?
I was 2 feet from the inside concrete barrier. Like nose pointing. So I lifted, and the car, obviously Fiestas are super stiff in the rear. Mm-hmm. And the car just lift off oversteered, and it just kept going. And dude, I was foot in on the brake, hand on the e-brake. I've never pulled an e-brake that hard in my dreams, man. And I was 2 feet from that concrete barrier. Because I didn't know what a Fiesta did at 90 plus miles an hour when you lift off oversteer. Yeah. So it helped me going back and saying, okay, let's go to a skid pad. Let's figure out going dry and then lift off oversteering into the skid pad. This is what happens. This is what I can expect. And then, like Wade mentioned, kind of dialing it back. So I was going, I don't remember the speed, theoretically 90 into that turn. Let's go 70 and lift and see what happens. Okay, well, it kind of tracks out, but I can catch it by matting the throttle. Okay, maybe I should study lift off oversteer and see how to manage it and learn all these different things. And it's, again, the Fiestas, I learned so much from, and I didn't mod them. My driver level grew, but the car really didn't. I might put some sticky tires. I think I put some 200s on one of them and like big brakes on my white one. But like my driver level grew, but the car really didn't. So I could exercise the limits of the car almost all the time. And I wasn't uncomfortable. So if your level is above the car's level, you can't have an ego to realize that. Like, can't be like, oh, I know everything about this already. The car's not even there. Like, I can drive however. But if you are exceeding the limits of your car comfortably and safely in a controlled manner, I think that's where you can get a lot of learning done. Yeah. That's what I did in the Fiesta when I almost absolutely biffed it going into turn one. That was a big learning lesson. And I slowed way down for a long time. The rest of that track day was very slow for me. Very slow and very brown.
I usually take a lot of my front-wheel drive students out on the skid pad. I'll have them drive around in circles.
In your Miata or in their cars?
No, in their cars.
Oh, okay.
In their front. Like I did with a student GTI.
Okay.
Did a few circles. I was like, all right, lift throttle, and he lifted, and I went.
You pulled their e-brake? Did you tell them?
I pulled the e-brake, and it went whoop. Oh. And I put it right back down, and it's like, that's what oversteer feels like. Congratulations.
And now they all have Miatas.
And they're like, oh, that felt weird. I'm like, yeah, but that's what lift off oversteer is going to feel like. It's going to feel very similar to this. So when you're on track and you lift off, it's going to do that.
Yeah.
And it's much better for them to learn at like 8 mile an hour
versus 80.
Yeah.
Yeah, because 80 is a lot more detrimental, especially at Road Atlanta. Even like Barber, even AMP, man. It's not fun to mess up anywhere unless you're on an autocross. Because if you lift off oversteer in autocross,
you hit a cone.
You might hit a cone. Or if you're in, they don't allow stock Fiestas like SEs.
Oh, roll over.
They flip.
Yeah, they flip. Yeah.
If you put like a 100 or a 200 on a Fiesta hatch, like a base, like Bryce's car, it'll flip. Yeah. And I think it's like minis or something, something like a club.
Fiat. Yeah. Fiat 500.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Fiat 500 bases. Yeah. Just flip right over.
But oversteer's fun. Mm-hmm. In the right environment.
Oh, in the right environment. That reminds me. Speaking of learning a car, if you have a rear-wheel drive car, dude, go to a drift day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Learn how to drift. And Eric Olson has talked about that before. Mm-hmm. Who's an instructor with
the best.
Yeah.
Fast drivers.
Yeah. So Eric is he's an instructor with Jay Zilla.
Mm-hmm. And he did my check ride.
Yeah.
He was my first instructor.
Really? Mm-hmm. He was my first girlfriend. But I've heard him talk, and I've seen him at drift events in his MR2.
Which is wild.
But that teaches you so much. Because guess what happens at a drift event? You're going 30, maybe, and then you spin. Okay, well, now you know how to dial it back, and you know how much counter steer to add, and how much throttle to add, and brake potentially. So you learn. So if you have a rear-wheel drive car, go to a drift event.
We need to get him on this podcast.
That would be very
a skid pad, because Jay Zilla is now like, if you're not participating in the event of the HPDE, you can sign up for just a skid pad.
Which is a huge learning experience, by the way.
Which is really cool. And I highly encourage everyone to go and do a skid pad. One, it's freaking hilarious. It's a lot of fun. Driving around in a circle at 2 miles an hour is way more fun than you think it is.
And harder.
Yeah, and harder than you think it is.
So hard.
Yeah, if you think you can drive, go on a skid pad.
Yeah. Straight up. I will buy dinner to the first person who's never been on a skid pad and can go around it without spinning out.
So,
I will stand by that.
Another transition, you pull on the handbrakes when these people didn't know, something you should know, is road knowledge, area knowledge. Wherever you're going to go, knowledge is key. It's like, imagine if I go to 151. Who's going to be over there waiting for me? Michael Hunter is waiting to shoot me down like the ghost of Myrtle Beach.
Him and PJ are just sitting there rubbing their hands together like, yes, sir.
Because I don't know 151. I couldn't even tell you where it's at.
The lanes are so narrow.
And
Dude.
the cliffs are very steep.
Very steep. But yeah, I agree. Road knowledge is
huge. Study where you're going to go. If you're going to the Dragon, for example, dude, speed limit's 30, right?
Yeah.
And that sounds bad, doesn't it? Oh, it sounds really bad, right?
Right?
we don't know the speed limit. No, because we never
We
reach
always
it.
go slower.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
never reach it. Why would
It's
we
too
go
many
that
turns.
fast? Yeah, too many turns.
I was
Yeah,
I was
drive
going that
around
height.
that speed limit. You learn a lot driving around the speed limit, especially with a lot of load on the front tires.
Oh, go ahead. I have a thought.
No, go ahead.
You are a thought.
Thank you. If you're, and this would be very dangerous to do on track and at autocross because there's other people around you. If you're going for a spirited drive in the mountains and you want to grow as a driver, you should drive without touching the brakes in a slow pace.
Yeah.
That is one of the best ways to feel how a car is going to carry momentum.
Yep, we talked
Is
about
like,
that a few
don't go
times.
like 70 and not touch the brakes and be like, the Haggerty guy said to not touch the brakes and I wrecked. No, I'm saying go at a comfortable pace. Obviously hit the brakes if you're going too fast. Just try to drive without touching the brakes. And it teaches you, one of the best rules I learned from Mr. Rob is throttle is as brake or brake is as throttle. The harder you brake, the harder you're going to have to gas coming out. Or the harder you gas going in, the harder you're going to have to brake going in.
String method.
Yeah, so try driving just without hitting the brakes. And it teaches you weight management, it teaches you timing in the corners, it teaches you a lot about driving.
That's how I learned how to momentum drive. That's literally it.
So I highly
Countless runs
recommend.
on 28 without touching brakes.
And
Yeah.
of course, in Miata.
But Wade mentioning 151 made me think of that because I took one of my old 86s to 151 and I did that on the uphill because it's very
You can't
steep.
do it on the downhill. It's
Not on the
impossible.
downhill.
It's impossible. That is something. If you can do a 151 without touching the brakes on the downhill, I'll get out of cars. I swear. Like that'll be hard.
will
But no,
sell you his
151
Miata.
because it has so many like odd angle turns going up, and a lot of them are off camber. So driving that without brakes taught me a lot about and also driving without brakes gives you a great starting point because then you can say, okay, I feel comfortable now. I can increase my speed by 5%, and then slowly grow 5%. We've talked a lot about driver development. That's one of those things where start by trying to go the speed limit, not touch your brakes, or around the speed limit, whatever, not touch your brakes to where you're comfortable, and grow from there, because that is a great starting point.
So what I'm hearing right now, this is kind of what I'm hearing right now.
Oh, no.
The best modification you can do to your car is yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
driver
Weird.
mod all day.
Huh.
Yeah.
Weird. There's a takeaway from this?
My takeaway from it is
Get good, scrub.
By the way, a tune doesn't make you faster.
especially not a Taliban tune.
Yeah,
But-
Crackle Pop tune is no.
And we've been canceled. Good
Yeah.
job. Gonna miss you guys.
But think of your car as a level, and you're just trying to get that weight right where it needs to be, regardless if you're braking or giving it throttle. Just want to,
You wanna be
Constant
smooth.
balance.
find that sweet spot. But Doug, I want to
I
bring
would
this
find
up
your
with
sweet
you,
spot.
especially since you have front-wheel drive, and you're not
I'm not
being
really.
rude, but you do have a bigger car.
It's a big girl.
So how does gear difference in your car feel compared to, like, say if you take a turn in second gear compared to third? Is it, like, extremely noticeable in that car?
Considering the fact that it has 22 pounds of boost, yes. The boost stuff does hurt and hinder sometimes. If you try and stay in second gear and doing one of your, allegedly one of your fast runs or something like that, you will find yourself constantly having to throttle management, lots of throttle management, especially on corner exit. If you basically mat the throttle too early, you will understeer and you will shove wide and you will touch the yellow.
Like that RX-7 did that hit that Z32?
Yeah.
Yes.
That was sad.
By the
Yeah.
way, a lot of people think that Z just messed up.
No, that Z was
No.
totally not
That
wrong.
RX that FB
RX-7.
blew that
Yes.
corner.
They blew the
Completely.
Which I've shot there before. So many people blew a picnic, which is that corner's name, obviously. Blew it and just smacked.
The Z even went out. Like he
Yeah,
went
the
out
Z
to try to
just
dodge
blew
it.
off.
So, okay, for people that don't know, at TougeFest, unfortunately, there was an FB RX-7. We don't know if he was affiliated with TougeFest. We don't know if either of these people were.
Because it was Rotary Rally, too. So.
Yeah, but he blew a corner. It was a sharp right-hander that he was taking, and as he was doing the long left, obviously on the other side of the road, RX-7 blew it, smacked that kid, and the kid hit a tree. The kid in the Z32 hit the tree, and a lot of people think that...
Did he hit the tree? Because he said
He's
that,
resting
pushed
against
it
it.
to-
Yeah,
Yeah.
he said
Not
he was
like
pushing
smack
in
at
the
full
tree,
speed, but-
he said He thinks the damage on the other side is savable.
Okay, but there's a picture. It's crazy good timing by 129 Photos, and it's the Z, and you can see the RX-7 crossing, and the Z has the front tire smoking, so he locked up trying to avoid that guy.
Yeah.
So he went very wide.
Yep,
And
he
there's
went really wide.
There's also another picture like what Dylan was saying by 129 Photos, where you can physically see the FB hitting the Z.
Yeah, it's sad. So always drive within your limits, guys. That's obviously one of the biggest
Limits
things.
is the biggest thing, and knowing your limits. Please know your limits, and I mean the whole point of this podcast is to keep you guys safe, anyways, because you really don't want to wreck your car. Okay, it sucks. A lot of people have their car for a long time. You don't want to be in an accident or anything like that. And the most important thing, you lose your life.
We kind of care about you guys. I know it's weird, but yeah.
Yeah.
We're not a bunch of people that go around and try to Peter Pan you. We care about you.
Yeah.
Peter Pan. Yeah.
Peter Pan. Suck peanut butter.
So how about we go into our next pro tip? Brakes. We haven't talked about.
Yeah, make sure your
brakes.
brake pad will fly out of your rear caliper.
Yeah.
Huh, yeah.
Yeah.
Brakes are an equation.
Project Mew, what are you doing?
So brakes are an equation, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You have
Brakes to me depend on number one, how you drive. Number two, the platform and how you're using it. Because you can't just mat the dang pedal and expect it to actually brake, especially if you're on like factory pads.
Yeah.
They're not gonna work like a Hawk HP Plus or something. Yeah, they're gonna brake, but you're likely gonna lock up.
What were you gonna say, Dylan?
Thanks, Austin. So brakes are like an equation. You have, like what Couch said, so you have pads, you have rotors, you have, obviously everyone knows what a brake system looks like, but a lot of people I've seen are like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a big brake kit on my car because thermal capacity and all this other cool stuff, and it looks neat, right? Well, a lot of people will do big brake kits, but they won't like change their fluid, or they won't change their lines, or they think they should only do lines. So all I would recommend, just to make a long story short, is just study brakes, study just what works best. Look at what the pros are doing. Try to replicate that for what is applicable to your driving. Just because an IMSA C8R runs a 8-piston front brake kit doesn't mean you need to put it on your NB Miata. No one thinks it's cool.
It's wild you mentioned that. So when I was instructing Miata Reunion, one of my students, bless his heart, had a completely stock. Okay, completely stock
He said, bless his heart.
NB Miata. Okay,
with
50,000 miles on the car. A Willwood Little Big brake kit on the front.
All right, let me stop you there.
On 400 treadwears and stock power, stock suspension, stock tire size even, and just roll bar and a Willwood Little Big.
He'll need the roll bar for when he front flips.
Dude.
Yeah.
Well, he won't even front flip because he's gonna flat spot his tires.
He's gonna lock up.
It just looked. And I think it was a later Gen MB that had ABS, which only made it worse because it didn't lock up. So it's just
You're like, I wish it did.
Yeah, like I wanted it to lock up solely so the guy understood, because he wasn't understanding what that limit of the car was at all, especially under brakes. And so it's just all way over braking the car. Just, I swear the front nose almost touched the ground one time. There's no way it didn't almost.
Was this at Road Atlanta or
This is
AMP?
at Barber.
Oh, at Barber. Oh, God, going into 5.
We were going into Museum Complex, and like he would stand on the brakes and then like throw the wheel in. I thought we were
Like going under the bridge at turn 9?
Yeah, like
Oh,
going into
no.
Museum Complex.
Oh, God.
And then so like, but he'd be on the brakes as he saw on the wheel on that right left thing that you're supposed to go straight through.
All I can hear is the Mario thing. It's like the wah, 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 because he spins.
If we did tripod, I'd be amazed. Like
tripod.
that's how much this car would dive in.
Yeah.
And
So,
like, guy was super cool. Like, you know, it's his first track day. He's an older gentleman, super cool dude.
yeah.
Don't follow his lead on that one.
Yeah, cars, and I say this about brakes, but also cars are an equation, right? You don't want crazy stiff suspension on stock tires. You would probably be safe going with some grippy tires and stock everything else, but even then, cars are an equation. Grow the car as a whole. I know a lot of people want to throw parts at it, and like exhaust doesn't throw out the equation completely. But like putting a turbo kit, like Couch said, on like a stock car, like that's a terrible idea. I met a guy in 86 Atlanta many years ago, and he had a stock 2015, and he was making 360 to the wheels on his turbo kit. And I was like, what's next for your car? And he's like, probably a bigger turbo. I was like, oh God. I was like, you need a Corvette.
It's like going to the gym. You don't want to go and just build nothing but bicep. Get some leg day in there. Like, you know.
Yeah, it's all about the equation, man.
It's balance.
Yeah, so you don't want to. It's like the oh my God, people that play like what are the games called, like Skyrim and stuff like that. You have the pie chart of all your characters' abilities.
Yeah.
A really even pie chart makes for a great playing experience. So I would highly recommend.
Max out your sneak and you're fine.
So try doing that with a car. Think of it as like those charts, right? The octagonal charts that have the different specs and the different points and all that. Think of one as like tires, brakes, suspension, all that, right? Power, all that. Just spread out the points. Just try to make it even. That is going to teach you the most about driving.
Don't try to put all of your skill points into one skill tree.
Unless it's driver mod. And that's a completely different tree.
Yes,
and you should water that thing every day.
Yeah.
Keep the blinds open for it.
Yeah.
Let it get sun.
Put it into a grow house.
Oh.
Greenhouse.
I have a fun thing for when we finish, which I don't know how much longer the podcast is going to go, but I have a fun thing.
Okay. Well, we're almost about to wrap it up anyways. I want to touch on TougeFest. I had a really good time at TougeFest this year. Well, for the spring TougeFest, because it's still fall. But, wow, what an event. That was insane. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it up there in the daytime. I kind of just made my way slowly up there. I think the earliest we got there at 7:30.
Yeah, man showed up way late.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, shout out to everyone that mentioned the podcast.
Yeah. I had a lot of people come up and mention the podcast, so thank you guys.
Had a few people come up there mention it. Gave a couple of them a ride along.
Yeah.
So.
Very nice.
Thanks for the business.
Tailgate taxi. I want to say thank you to everybody who behaved themselves. This Touge Fest genuinely felt like it was an old Touge Fest, like a 2015 Touge Fest, where it's just like super chill. No one's out there trying to be an ego guy. Like, it was very, very chill and just felt kind of like how the Dragon used to feel a lot.
It was a lot about hanging out with people, talking cars, people driving, and honestly, the night runs were fantastic.
Like, I came up Saturday night after dinner, and Killboy store was packed. It felt like a little miniature car show.
I couldn't park
Oh, that's cool.
Dude, the parking lot was packed all day.
You couldn't park there.
No.
We sat at Killboy store Friday night, and it was, man, we sat there and talked for almost an hour and a half.
Dude, I really hope I'm at the fall.
There was easily 50 people in the Killboy store at like
Which
8
kept
or 9
getting
o'clock.
more and
Oh
more
my
people.
At like
goodness.
9 o'clock, the cars were just parked and hanging out. It was literally like a night meet, like before, slammed enough or whatever.
They need to bring Fitties back for like time it with Touge Fest.
I think
They
they
should.
purposely timed it away
From
from
Touge
I'm pretty
Fest.
sure they
Yeah.
did.
So I have a cool question.
Yeah.
So I thought about this. So we had a motivational speaker at the conference, right? To like go away from cars for a second. And I thought about this. So I wanted to ask this guy because like he's a very, very influential guy. What?
He likes SRT4s, don't
Jesus Christ.
I bet
We
he does.
killed that.
Everybody likes an SRT4.
But I thought of a question I wanted to ask him, and he gave me a really cool response. So I was curious about you guys, and I'm going to make it related to cars so it's not super boring.
Okay.
If there's any car person you could have a dinner with, dead or alive, so if they
this.
currently are alive or they've unfortunately passed away, who would it be? And I'm going to start with Doug.
I already know who Doug's picking.
Dude, that was an easy
It's
one.
Richard Petty.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. What about you?
Driver or just car person in general?
Any car person, so involved in car culture in some way. They could build lug nut bolts on it.
Man drove his stock car in the 70s from North Carolina to California Riverside Raceway and drove it back.
That's what Wade's going to do.
You know how many stories you could hear from that man?
That would be pretty cool.
Can I have 2?
No,
Oh, I could name 10, but
no, one.
No, only one?
Only one. And this is like your only chance. After this, they're gone forever.
Oh, don't say that. That'll make me cry.
I think it's just because it would be cool, and I feel like we would get along really cool. It's Bobby Unser.
And who is that for the people that don't know?
Bobby Unser he did some IndyCar stuff. He did Pikes Peak. He's a Pikes Peak winner multiple times. So is his brother, and his granddaughter is actually running in Pikes Peak now too. So like their whole family does Pikes Peak stuff. But anyway, like he's. I hate you so much.
Oh my god.
Oh my.
Man can't keep away from his nicotine for an hour.
Listen.
All right.
It is what it is.
Anyway,
Continue.
but like super into aviation and like
Oh, you guys will get along great.
man like fell asleep while flying his plane and ended up in California. Like
Whoa.
he has some really cool.
Like, that's a true story?
Yeah, would
Oh my
land his
gosh.
plane in fields and stuff to use the bathroom. Like
Wow.
this is back in the 70s, 80s. Was really good friends with Mario Andretti.
Weird. Oh, his sons came to the Atlantic karting night one night because, like, at the Andretti's karting thing in Kennesaw or Marietta or wherever, they just showed up one night.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they like cleared the whole place out, which is like, it's supposed to be for people to enjoy, and they're like, nope, us leave.
Hey, it's a
Oh,
flex.
birthday party? Get out.
But,
Oh, you three, not for me. Bye.
But yeah,
Oh,
just a
that's a nice
genuinely
cake I take.
be a genuinely good time just to hang out and talk to him. That'd be cool.
That
Fair
would be
enough.
a cool one.
What about you, Coach?
I'm gonna go with. It's gonna be very basic. Probably Ken Block.
Damn, that was who I was gonna say.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
He's the only death I've cried over. Seriously, when it came to car people, I watched like one of the dude. I was bawling.
Oh yeah, the was it Donut Media that made the tribute?
There
Yep.
were there were
Yeah,
there were a
there's-
Or not
couple.
Donut Media. I'm sorry. Who again?
Yes.
So Hoonigan did a pretty long one, but there were a couple, like 2-minute long ones, and just his. And I'm not trying to rob Couch right here, but his view on life and enjoying it really, really hit home. And so that was somebody that, yeah. Well, now I got to think of one before it comes back to me. But
So the thing with like that, why I would like it to be Ken Block is because all the cars that he's drove, there's so much information and knowledge that you could get or just kind of peek at that you can learn so much from.
Yeah.
And the stories. I mean, the Tesla at Pikes Peak. You got that.
Hoona Pegasus,
Yeah, Huda Pegasus.
which
all
I
of those.
love that his daughter's going to drive it. That's so
Yeah.
wholesome.
She was. Did you see the karting accident she had?
Yeah. What about you, Wade?
I've seen him a few times in person. I've actually not had the opportunity to talk to him verbally, but
Randy
I've
Post.
waved at him. And yeah, it's Randy Post. I'd love to just sit down and have dinner with him.
Speaking
Mainly
of
because
wholesome.
the more information I find out about Randy, the more unusual car collection he has. Even though he just shows up, like I'll just be at an event and you'll see this man.
I like he'll do a track day at Road Atlanta, and then he'll just walk across to Lanier and just go do a drift day.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's super
Pretty
nice.
cool guy. I would love to sit down and talk to him and just hear his stories. Just sit and listen to him.
That's a top 5 for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jason can be so, but they
Yeah.
have to.
yeah. If it was only one person, it would probably be Carroll Shelby.
Ooh.
Just the impact he had
Oh yeah.
on car culture in general.
Coca.
But just to have that type of influence on car culture, it's very Ken Block-esque. It's I love driving. I'm going to do this professionally, and I'm going to build a brand around it and give back to the people that helped me build this brand originally. It's the same principle. So yeah, seeing what he did. Also, one of my favorite movies is Ford versus Ferrari.
Yeah.
But I knew about him a little before then, just because of the Shelby name. And then I watched that and I researched more about him and just everything else and everything he did. And that would be something to just sit down and really pick his brain about just being at Le Mans and everything else that he did and everything he accomplished with racing and running a business, because he's not just a good race car driver, he was a great business owner. So from a lot of different, he would have a lot of different perspectives. So I'd really like to sit down, have like a pulled pork sandwich with him.
I'm
Bucky's
really
pulled pork
surprised.
Oh yes.
I'm surprised no one said Senna.
I thought that at first, but then I was like,
Have you seen his interviews?
The
I mean,
language
yeah,
barrier would
He's a
suck.
little blunt.
Yeah,
Or not blunt,
oh.
like short.
Pot calling the kettle black. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I can carry a conversation.
No, you can't.
He's very like, don't talk to me, and at least based on what I've seen, and it's not just people like interviewing him right after a race. He just didn't seem to.
Well, he did not like the publicity of like paparazzi and stuff.
Yeah.
But it didn't mean he didn't care. He donated a ton of money back to his home country in Brazil.
Yeah.
But not to go too deep into that, but one I'm also surprised I didn't hear was Michael Schumacher,
Yeah.
Which was
I mean,
my-
we're not massive into F1,
which
though.
was
That's
my
the-
second was Schumacher.
Really. I think my second would be Nakai if there was no. Actually, he speaks great English, but I would just be like, I'm so sorry for embarrassing myself in front of you back in 2015. because he came to Atlanta, and I like got a picture with him. But dude, I was like shaking and being really weird.
I was at that event with you, and I saw
really.
Yeah, I was there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I was there, and like I saw.
I knew Austin before I knew Austin.
I was like, hey, there's that guy. And I'm like, cool, and I just kept going.
I also love what he turned RWB from just like classic Porsches, which it seems like everyone's doing now, to like these crazy cars that actually get driven hard.
Yeah.
So hard that he wrecked his at Tsukuba.
It'd be like that sometimes.
Well, when you're the guy that builds them, you're like, oh, all the parts are in my garage. Well, I know how to fix this.
Well, the problem is like, but like all of them are like just hand done, so it's not like he's like, I'll just have to remake this now.
Yeah. But like if you know how to shape Play-Doh, you know how to shape Play-Doh. Yeah. So.
DK would be high up on the list too.
Kiichi Tsuchiya?
Oh, absolutely.
Rob.
Yes. Can we just go with a solid yes?
Yeah. Kiichi Tsuchiya would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be a great one.
That'd be a good one. Guys, let us know in our Instagram post. I know you're listening to on Spotify, but come to our Instagram page. There will be a post I'm going to ask everybody tonight anyways after we do this. Just drop in. Be like, hey, who's your favorite driver? Who would you like to just sit down for dinner with? That would be an interesting time. Just an empty room, just you and the driver.
Yep. Whatever restaurant you want, just pop in and
Big
just
McDonald's.
have a just sit there and just have a conversation.
Bucky's buffet.
And as long as you want the conversation to be, but once it's done, you can never talk to them again.
Yep. That'd be a good one. And we're going to end it on that. Thank you guys for listening to this morning's episode of the Touge Hour. If you're listening in the morning, we release 4:30 a.m. every Friday. If you want to listen to us on Spotify, hit that subscribe, follow button on Spotify too. Leave that awesome review. Austin made a really good point on that. Leaving reviews really helps the podcast itself reach a broader audience. So if you're not seeing this on Instagram or any other social media source, if you're seeing it on Spotify, we really do appreciate you guys tuning in and listening to us. If you're on a drive, sitting on your treadmill, actually not working out, you're just standing there.
Just staring into the abyss.
Why does everyone look at me?
Because you made a face. What do you mean?
He's the target.
Hey, that man works out hard. I will.
does.
props to Austin.
He's getting skinnier.
He didn't today. He didn't today. Didn't work out today.
I
Did
also
you?
wasn't here.
But thank you guys so much for listening. We're going to be doing some more updates. We'll save the Touge in our STG86. We have some parts coming in tomorrow. As long as they didn't scam me, which could be a very interesting video. I'll figure out tomorrow at 10:30. So thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys have a wonderful morning, night, evening, breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Week until next episode. Have a good week.
Yep. Have a good week. See you next Friday. And as always. Oh, do you want to say something over there? No, he's
leaning.
waiting.
He's about to kiss
if
the
you
mic.
guys have been listening to all the way to the end of the podcast, something has been said. Very quiet form, a very loud form, or just like a ghost.
What?
And it's
Austin?
usually Austin.
What? Say it. You have our whole
And as
family.
always, keep it in the past. We'll see you next time.
Oh yeah.